So, welcome back.
This is what? Episode 8 now.
You greet it. You do the introduction.
Yeah, I think this is episode 8 now. So today we actually got Jimmy. We're going to be interviewing Jimmy and see how he got into the barber industry and how long he expects to stay in it if he does. So, Jimmy.
You already trying to retire me, bro? How long he expected?
I don't know what's on your mind, so I'm trying to figure it out now. Like, how'd you get into the whole barbering?
Man, I'm going to take it way back. Even around 1997.
Yeah.
I remember I was like 7, 8 years old, and my dad used to take me to like a $2.99 place. I used to live right there off of Gessner and Tom Park. And I just remember there was this Asian dude. He looked like Slim Shady, bro. He looked like a Eminem version, like Asian dude. Mm-hmm. And I used to get a ball fade all the time, maybe like a 1 or 2. And he would face me towards the mirror and he would fade. And I would just watch him cut me, and I was like, I think I can do this. Like, it doesn't look that hard. And when I turned 14, my dad bought some clippers to trim his beard and everything. And I started doing my own tapers. I remember I always went to $5.99. My mom always gave me $7 every week to go get a haircut. And when I found a good barber, because I had always been to like salons, I was paying like $12 for a haircut. And of course I would save 7 plus 7. It was 12 a tip, $2. So the week that I wouldn't get a haircut, I would taper myself with my dad's clippers. And I just found it normal, easy. Like I would taper myself up. And
so at this point, you're like touching it up pretty much, right?
Yeah.
From a week being grown out?
Yeah, but I just thought it was normal. Like I didn't think nothing of it. And then at like 16, 17, I was able to do my chin strap like real nice, the angles and everything. And I kind of noticed that it wasn't normal to be able to do that. Some guy, I was like 17, some guy asked me, who did your beard? And I was like, me. And he's like, nah, like who did your beard? Like what barber you go to? And I'm like, bro, I did my beard. He's like, nah, it looks too good. And I just thought he was messing with me, but then I realized that it wasn't normal to be able to do your beard nice and crispy and have your edge up nice and crispy. And I remember just cutting in high school, cutting my teammates, and then going to college, taking my clippers. I never thought about being a barber for money.
How long do you think it took for you to get good at it? Like to where you could say you're comfortable with any haircut or any style?
So I think I started cutting 16 years old. So by the time I was 18 in college, I felt like I could do pretty much anything.
Was there any major mess ups starting off? Or?
Yeah, I think one of my first haircuts, man, I grabbed an 8 and I put on my friend. I put a 4 on the sides. And
no, nothing was blended. It was 4, 8.
Yeah, no, it was blended. I blended it, but I didn't expect the number 8 to be so short because I didn't know how to cut with shears. Yeah. I thought the 8 was going to be longer. So that was my first, maybe like 2 really bad haircuts at the beginning. And then after that, I wouldn't go with the tapers. I would never go like a double zero. I was like half or a regular zero, It was until I got to a shop when I was like 20. But when I was 18, I thought I was going to go pro, and I thought I didn't think barbering was going to be like my money making. I didn't even imagine being a barber. I was just doing designs for my college teammates. I used to put, our numbers on our head. I used to cut all my teammates in the locker room, put our numbers before games, and it was fun. I loved it. I enjoyed it, but I never thought I'd be doing this. And I dropped out of college. I came back home. I was working at Journey's, and I remember cutting my mom's restroom. And one dude was like, man, you can make money doing this. I don't know, man. Everything's a little blurry at that moment, but I remember when I was 20 years old, I was cutting in my mom's garage, and then a barbershop owner from the area called me up, but I didn't have a license. I think I had tried going to a hair salon to try to get a job, but they told me you don't have a license, you couldn't work here. But ever since I got into that barbershop in 2010, I never looked back. Like, I just got booked like that. It's kind of weird. My story's kind of weird. I never thought about being a barber. And, I know it sounds weird, but nobody taught me how to cut hair. I mean, I learned in barbershops, I learned how to, crisp up my tapers, how to use T-outliners, how to use the shavers, how to do the edge up, how to use the razor. But I was already pretty decent. So like when I came into a shop I mean, I started running through haircuts.
If anything, you would just like pick up different techniques from different people or something like that.
Yeah, because when I used to do my tapers, I used to just use my T outliners or style liners at that moment, you know?
Yeah, those big black ones.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bald. And then
Yeah.
eventually I started picking up like using a shaver. And then like, you know, doing the C cup with the razor real nice. And going against the grain, those little things that started perfecting my haircuts. But it was kind of weird, man. I grabbed the clippers and I know it's going to sound weird to a lot of people, but it really just came natural to me. And I go back to that time when I was 7, 8 years old. I used to watch this guy cut me, and I used to pay attention. And I was like, the way, and this is when I teach people, like Julio. Yeah, I'm always like, you know, fade out. Because if you fade in, you're going to do another guideline. But I would see this guy do this. And I guess I don't know. I can't sit here and explain to you something that happened in my soul.
Yeah.
What do you say was the hardest thing for you to learn, like learning? What was something that was hard for you?
Really definitely taking out that line from the shaver to the edger. When I started doing like ball fades, when I really got thrown into like the barber shop. I used to do a lot of mohawks with the signs. That was my thing. You know, when I hit the barber shop, a lot of high schoolers, they wanted the signs, they wanted the mohawk, tapered up. But eventually I started getting like the 2 in a ball fade, a high and tight. And so I was putting the shaver, and that line from the shaver up, it was so hard, man. I struggled with it. I think that was probably one of the hardest things that I could say that.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with it, you know, every barber. Because it takes some sort of finesse to get it out, right? You can't press as hard when you get there. You got to like flick out the trimmer. Everybody has their own way of doing it, you know? But that was I feel like that's a big one.
And how do you feel now, bro? Like, you're saying that how you started, like the way the thought process was and everything, and to get to where you're at now. The whole idea wasn't like seeing this picture that you're doing now, like, oh, I'm going to do it like that. But how do you feel going back to how you used to think and to where you're at now?
I'm a whole different man. I'm not. I feel like a whole different man. You know, in 2016, I gave my life to Christ, and I think that was a major change in me. You know, I dropped out of school at 18, out of college. I played semi-pro. I dropped out of college, came back home. Then, you know, I worked a little bit. I worked at Journeys for a while, and I started cutting hair. But I think a big depression, and I didn't understand what depression was. I didn't know that my mental health during 6 years, I didn't know I was working in the hood cutting hair, you know, from being a 4.0 GPA student in high school, from going to a private school, for playing college ball, playing semi-pro, playing in stadiums. I thought I was going to be I thought I was going to be something great. And when I catch myself working in the hood, cutting hair, it sunk me, man. It sunk me for years. I didn't know this because I wasn't aware of it, that I was just in a dark place. Like, I'm just cutting, and I love cutting, but I didn't know where I was. It's just like I was kind of coasting through life, like Elite Barber Parlor, this podcast, the person who I am now. That I never thought about it. At least from 2011, 2012 to 2016, maybe even 2017, I never thought I would achieve where I am right now.
Yeah. It's good, bro. Especially, like, do you have those days sometimes where you just like to reflect, go back and think about how far you've came as a barber, especially with so much competition, you know, out here too?
Yeah, man. You know, in 2012, I think I used to work with uppercuts, and you know, they were kind of in competition with Kings of Clippers, and at that moment, $20 haircuts was a lot. And we used to do the signs, and you know, I thought I was gonna be something big, and then again I hit a plateau. And there was a lot back then. There was a lot of not a lot of competition as it is now.
Yeah.
But I never really, like, my mind didn't grasp, like, I could own a nice shop in a nice area. I could probably get my shop to be known. Like, my head wasn't there.
Yeah. Like you weren't even thinking about those things.
No, like, they never crossed my mind. I just wanted to cut hair. I just wanted to make money. Wanted to open up a shop, booth rental, and then buy a house. like actually creating things like what we're doing now never crossed my mind. And when I do sit back and reflect, I think a lot of people are stuck in that mentality. I can't. You know, if you would have told me I was going to own a shop in Sugarland 5-6 years ago, if you would have told me I'd be doing a podcast, if you tell me I'd be financially stable, I would have a family, and not just that, I think my mental stability. If you would tell me I'd be living this life right now, if you would have told me that 5-6 years ago, I would have been like, man, you're crazy. I could never do that. And I think a lot of people live in that mental state that I can't do that. I can't.
And that fear.
Yeah, I feel like it boils down to that because there's a formula for everything, right? But it's just if you're fearful,
you're
to not do it.
Maybe you're afraid of success or afraid of failure. I think for me it was afraid of failure a lot. You know, how am I gonna afford a $4,000 rent? How am I gonna, charge what I'm charging now, $50 haircut and beard, and people not, get haircuts with me? I used to not have faith, and I think it boils down to faith. I think your mind and your faith are very strong, through God. That's why He gave us faith. And I think when I started believing in myself, when I started changing, I started things just exploded. But definitely, when I do reflect, I'm like, dang, I was so stupid.
Yeah.
I was so young. I was so dumb. I was so blinded. And there's times where I wish I could go back to when I was 20. There's times where I wish I could go back to when I was 25 and slap myself and be like, dude, you're so capable of doing so much more. There's so much potential in you if you just discipline yourself, if you do things right, if you, love people. I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ, and I think that He really changed me for the better. He will align your life in a better way, but it's crazy when I come here, man, and I don't want to get emotional on podcast, but
yeah, it just feels good, doesn't it? Just seeing everything. And what can you say helped you let go of that fear? What made you just say, I'm gonna do this?
What made you want to do it? You know what I mean?
Honestly, I didn't even want to open up a shop anymore. I think I had told Manny, in 2019, I was kind of done with shops. I just wanted to open up a little suite. But I feel like, I was working and doing things right, and God kept opening up doors. And when we opened up this place, and I was kind of scared, the rent's kind of high here. But my wife was like, you can do it, Jimmy. You can do it. And I would pray, say, God, is this what you want me to do? Because I wanted to buy rental houses. I had money. Through the pandemic, I had a nice little savings, and I was like, yo, I'm going to buy a rental house, and I'm going to buy another one, and I'm just going to get a suite, and that's it for me. I don't want to own a shop. But for some reason or another, God always pushed me towards this place to be a purpose as well, to lead other people. And I'm loving it. I'm loving being a leader here to each of these barbers. And I think I'm really enjoying the process. And where it really happened, I want to say, is in 2017, my change really started. I went to immigration, I went to prison. And then when I get out, I had lost everything. There was nothing else to do. But I had faith that I was going to be okay. As long as I had life, as long as I had breath, as long as I had my family, as long as anything else was possible. So I had already hit rock bottom. So there was, sometimes people say, de abajo ya no hay más. Just go up. From, when you fall down, there's no other way but just come up. And the come up has been real, And I believe fully in sowing love, sowing good things, sowing good deeds. And I share with my barbers, share your clients. If you're too booked, share with people, love on people, and do those things, and life is going to be great. But
and how long do you think it took you to get out of the depressed mindset? Because I'm pretty sure, like you said, it hit you hard whenever you figured, maybe I can't be a professional athlete, maybe I had to find a 9-to-5, or maybe now I had to put my chips, because all your chips have to be in the basket, right, when you're an athlete, always practicing, always doing this. So how long do you think it took you to get out of that mindset, or did you kind of figure it pretty quickly?
Nah, 6 years, man.
Yeah.
6 years I was just cutting, drinking every weekend. I guess numbing it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just to kind of not think about it, right?
It was my fun. It was my, oh, this is what I do. This is who I am. And you accept who you are. You accept that depressed mode. You accept that brokenness. And, you know, when I met with God, like, he changed me. He really changed me. I started believing a little bit more in myself. And it wasn't about the money. It was just my mental health and my soul. But when he restores that, everything around you restores. And I remember in 2019, I started studying finance. I started studying how money worked, how you could get loans, and then you can earn this interest, and you can have your money work for you. And I think that's when the fear left. When I was like, yo, if I save enough money and I put my money to work, it can compound interest. It can grow, and then I can save that money, and that money grows, and I can use that money to open up a shop. I can use that money to get a rental house. And when I did that, when I understood money, when I believed in myself, at that moment in 2019, I believed I could do it. I said, if I save enough money and my money works for me, I could achieve that. And then boom, I opened up a shop, and things just started flowing. And when I achieve you achieve one goal, then you're like, if I can achieve this, I can achieve this. Then you just start going. And you know, there's times where even here, being overwhelmed, like, dang, I can't even believe I'm here. I'm like, there's so much more I could do now. Like the last time I said, the lid broke off.
Yeah. What are your goals now? Now that you see what you've done, what you can do, like, what's next for Jimmy? You know, like, what do you see happening next? Do you want to expand, take it up a notch with the clothing brand? Like, what are your goals?
Manny wants to retire me already. He asked me how long I'm gonna be cutting. No idea. Like, you know, I've thought about opening up a second shop. I still have in mind buying rental homes and doing that. Getting into real estate, I want to do that. But right now, I've learned to enjoy the process. I'm really, really enjoying being here with each one of my barbers and, you know, helping them grow. I know God is going to help me, and he's going to guide me. I would love to grow the clothing brand. And, you know, being a shop owner, it's really tough, you know. And my wife told me the other day, man, you do too much. Like, you stop. Like, you know, I got a shop. I sell clippers. I want to start a barber supply store. I have our merch. I want to create not just our merch for the barbershop, elite barber parlor, but I want to create a clothing line, kind of like, you know, I got these athlete sweatpants, you know, kind of nice, you know what I'm saying? I kind of want to create a brand, maybe just like something simple, elite, you know. Jason the other day said less is more. So clothing brand, barber supplies, barber shop, maybe opening up a second shop. But I definitely need some help. I've hated partnerships my whole, like, in the past. But I feel like once you're growing, you need partnerships.
Yeah,
you need
definitely.
people to help you around.
The right partnership.
The right ones.
Right.
The ones that have the same vision. Get it in writing. What do you want from this?
Yeah.
What do you want from this?
Yeah. And what do you see this growing into, right? What are we going to accomplish with this?
Yeah, and I was telling my wife the other day, I came home and I was just laying, you know, I'm a baby when I come home. I may be you know, a lot of people I know, they see me like this guy that owns a shop that's doing all this, and they like, man, he's so, you know, I know some people have told me like, man, I look up to you, you know. And if they just see me I'm such a little baby when I come home. I like go into my wife and she cuddles me and she pets me, you know. And
You put the thumb in your mouth too?
and I'm sitting there, I'm telling her, babe, I can't believe we are where we are. We have the house of our dreams. We have our beautiful girls. We have a business. We have all this. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I was a drug addict, really. I was an alcoholic. I was broken. Who would have thought we'd be here after all we've been through? She's like, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know, I don't want to come off arrogant, but there's times where I'm like, I tell her, I was like, dang, like we went to test drive that Land Rover Defender the other day, and now I know I can probably do it in the future. If I did this, and if I'm financially stable, I've been able to give myself luxuries, you know, to go out to nice restaurants, to go out to do things I never thought I'd do. A kid from Mexico City who my walls were plastic, who we ate eggs and tortillas every day, who my dad probably made $50 a week, maybe less, you know, coming from that to, you know, having a business that's probably worth over $100,000 now, maybe $75,000. Having, honestly, you know, assets that are worth so much money that I could do what I want. It's crazy to think that way, and I'm like, man, like I would want to buy me a boat one day. And if I would have thought that 5 years ago,
you'd had it already.
I would have been like, there's no way I'll have a house. No way I'll have a 2-story house. No way I'll have a boat. No way I'll own this business. No way I could afford that $200 dinner at Steak 48. And now I'm like, I could do it. What more can I do? But at the same time, as I'm saying these things, it's like I want to bless people. You know what I mean? I see people around me that might need some. And, you know, the Bible does say, like, hey, don't let your left know what your right does. But I do want to encourage everyone else, like, when you're blessed is because you got to bless others around you. And I've learned that to help people, you know, the little that I have, I teach the barbers. If I can give gifts or to help other people, I can teach you finance. I can, hey, let me take you out to eat. Hey, let me bless you with this. And that's how I run. If I'm gonna have a yacht one day, if I'm gonna have a Range Rover one day, the people around me are also gonna have nice things. You know what I mean? I'm gonna teach them, not give them things, but also teach them to be successful the way that I am.
You feel like you always had that care for others?
Always a little bit. Even when I wasn't Christian, like I used to always help barbers. Like I would bring them in, teach them how to cut hair. I always had a genuine care for people, but now even more because I understand the love that God has for me. I understand, like, and that's the beauty about it. See, a lot of people don't understand that when I do things for people, I do it out of love. I don't expect things back. It hurts when they pay you wrong. It hurts. I'm not gonna lie. I've helped so many barbers. I helped so many people, and they have paid me wrong, and it hurt. But now I'm like, I do it because I love you, and whether you pay me good or wrong, I know I'm doing good, and I don't do it. And this is the mind-boggling thing. I don't do it for the reward. I don't do it for, if I help you, God is going to bless me. I don't do it like that. I do it because I want to. I do it because I love you. I know it because I've been broken, like mentally and spiritually, and I've been broke financially. I've been in dark times. So if I see somebody broken, I'm going to help them because I've been there. Whether they pay me right or wrong, I'm still going to help them because I feel like nobody did that for me. Maybe somebody did. Maybe I just wasn't aware of it. You know, the only one that's been with me through thick and thin is my wife. Well, my mom too, you know.
How do you feel like you learned about all these things like finance or real estate and things like that?
I started watching YouTube videos.
YouTube?
What else? We were going to say something else?
Yeah, like what got you into that mindset of thinking like, damn, this cutting shit really ain't enough, you know? I got to start seeing where to put my money, seeing where to invest, seeing what made you think that?
One of my clients, Gilbert, he used to work at Cadence. He goes, man, I got this checkings account. They'll pay you 2% on your money. You know, if you got like 10, 20 racks, 2% could be $100 a month. Like nobody's going to give you $100. So I put my money in Cadence and then it started growing. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I started finding more like how you can earn more interest. And then the things that would come up was like stocks, dividend stocks. Pay 4%, 6% on your money, 10%. I started watching YouTube videos, started reading, read books from Peter Thiel, the guy who was a PayPal with Elon Musk. Like I think it was like CardX or something. They joined, they made PayPal. So I read books about successful people. And they always talk about being innovative, having faith, having a positive attitude, like all those things. So reading book and YouTube. I would sit there at night, my wife, I would sit there like, what are the dividend stocks that pay the most? How do I get an LLC? How do I get a DBA? I'm watching YouTube, and they could be the most boring videos for people. And I know Manny and the guys around me, they're like, bro, you know a lot. It's because I'm out here watching National Geographic. I'm watching things to learn. I'm watching history. I'm watching, you know, how to run a business, how an LLC can expense other things out, you know. Yeah, ARs don't come after me, but I expense out some dinners. You know, you expense
company dinners.
Yeah, company dinners.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So just be hungry for that. And I think I kind of learned I still do waste my time. I'm not gonna lie. I still waste my time on Instagram, maybe on YouTube, maybe on Netflix, but not as much as I used to waste so much time on Netflix. I used to waste so much time on other things, and now I'm over here watching important stuff like on YouTube. The other day I was telling Jennifer, I was just giving her an analogy, and that's when you realize, like, dang, all this knowledge, all this retention, and it's beautiful. And I was pushing her. I keep pushing her. I'm pushing her. And I didn't understand why I push people so much. But then it took me back to this National Geographic moment where the wolves, they run in packs. And the stronger the pack is, the more they eat, the more healthy it is. And they would always send the weak ones in the front, or the old ones. And the ones that they're protected, they were in the middle. And the stronger wolves, the beast of the beast, were in the back of the pack, pushing forward and defending the back. And I was sitting there explaining this to her, and I'm like, yo, how do I know this? It's like, oh yeah, I was watching National Geographic the other night.
That's how you can bring that analogy out, right?
Yeah.
I understand. And honestly, that's how you should think about like business, you know what I'm saying? Like you want a beast ass team pretty much, that's gonna separate you from everybody else.
For sure.
Man, and that's my take on it. And sometimes I catch myself. I know it's booth rental, and I got on these boys a lot, but I want my team to be successful, and I don't want my team to be broken like I was. You know what I mean? I think I'm not. Man, I wasn't even half the man I am now. Maybe like 10% of who I am now. You know what I mean? I was just drinking, not even worried about things like this.
Yeah, and it's crazy, bro, because I remember, I've known you for a while, bro, and to see where you are now and how you started it's great. It's incredible. And to like people that may be watching you talking about like finances and helping others, and I remember when you were doing like little courses or like teachings of financial teachings and having someone come into the shop and stuff like that. Like, is that something that, to someone that may be interested, or is that something you plan on picking back up like later on, or like, because I think that was really good. Especially you don't see a barbershop with that, I could say like something so versatile to where you do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Is that something that you'll probably be interested in?
I actually wanted to get like my Series 6 and Series 7 license to be an investor for other people, to like manage investments for other people, but I know it's hard, and I already got the barbershop. I'm already doing too much. And sometimes I told Manny about investments, about stocks, about how to grow his money, compound dividends, compound interest. And I'm willing to help out everyone here. And if people ask me, I help. I would love to get back into finance. I think if you understand money, if you become like an investment fund, like one of those big brokerage corps like Robinhood or whatnot, you literally just pull money from people. They give you their money, you invest it, and you give them some percentage back that you made, but you keep the money. You just got free money from people. Let's say you get 10 people to give you $1 million each. That's $10 million. You make 20% on that. What is that? That's $2 million, right? Yeah. And then you only got to give them like 7%. So you keep 13%. That's 1.3 million on 10 million that weren't even yours. If you really understand money like that, like I would love to get back into doing investments like that, like create my own brokerage, like create my own what are these called, man? Like Berkshire Hathaway and whatnot, like pretty much like Warren Buffett, like you have your investment firm. And people bring money to you, you invest it, you pay them a percentage, but
they don't have to worry about nothing but collecting, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But since you're taking all the toll, you have to take a bigger percentage. You know what I mean? Because you're the one putting their money to work, pretty much. Staying on top of the stock, staying on top of the game. Mm-hmm. This shit changes all the time.
And then you just hire people to manage the money too. You know what I mean? I thought about doing like a real estate investment trust, which is buying properties for other people, making money for them, doing the flips, and then just paying it back to them, and then keeping some money. If you really understand money like that, it'll blow your mind when you really understand money like that.
Right.
So it's crazy, bro, because obviously with your podcast, I'm sure a lot of barbers look into the podcast, watch your videos, listen to everything. So you know, a lot of people I think would think that being a barber or like an owner of a barbershop is just cutting hair. But like, you know, I think this should help someone to see a bigger picture. To like, if they were just stuck doing barbering, you know, it's also good to like, I guess, hearing your story and seeing how your mindset is to like be like motivate someone to, you know, just like, oh man, I could do more than just cutting hair, you know, because sometimes someone is probably feeling that way and it's in your position, and just listening to you talk about it and just doing it, bro, it's just like, oh, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people think the industry is just about cutting hair, bro. Like, they don't really want to see like, oh, you could really do so much. Like, you could make something out of this and still make other things happen.
It could open so many avenues for somebody, right? And I feel like the financial shit is really important, especially for barbers, bro.
Yeah.
Barbers, as much money as we make is as quick as they let it go. Majority of them, you know what I mean? So I'm sure that was hard too, getting into finances, that transition to say, no, I can't waste today, or I can't waste this week. You know what I mean? You got your coworkers going out and shit, and you know damn well you can't go because you want this. You want to invest your money over here. I mean, I'm sure you've had those moments, right? I would.
I mean, I've shared with Manny. I think I spent like $300 up to $500 a night. You know, popping bottles, going to clubs. You know, when I was younger, but I had like $1,000, $2,000 in my bank account. I was living day by day, but I just, you know, I wasn't thinking of the future. And I think a lot of us don't think about the future. A lot of barbers, they like, you know, buying the Yeezys, they buying the jewelry, popping the bottles, and they making $50-$60 a cut, making $500 a day, but they got nothing in their savings. They got, you know, they're not doing nothing with their money. And definitely, once I had a family, I kind of started thinking about the future, started saving, but I was still stupid. I was still spending like $200 at a bar with my wife. We would go out, you know, before becoming Christian. And, but eventually I started learning to saying no, because when you understand that if I put $1 right now into an investment fund, 10, 20 years from now, it'll be $20. So you're not spending $1. You're spending a lot of money. If you got $100 and you invested, those $100 could be $1,000, $2,000 in a few years in an investment. This shop is an investment, right? So once you understand money like that, you don't look at money the same anymore. A lot of people just look, I got it, let me spend it.
Let me look like I got it even more.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, and I went 5 years, bro. Like, probably a lot of people don't know this, but, you know, I told you, I didn't buy me shoes in 5 years, 6 years. You know, my wife, my mom, you know, people for Christmas give me shoes. And I'm sitting here going to the mall and looking at these fly shoes, bro. And knowing I got like 10, 20 racks in my bank account. And I'm like, I don't need them.
I don't even, you got a whole nother mindset either way, right?
Yeah, I don't care. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know. Like, I didn't care what people look like. I was coming in with like basketball shorts, looking all raggedy. A lot of people would see me, I looked all raggedy all the time. But it's like, because I didn't want to spend the money to look good. And now lately I've been buying me some nicer shoes. But, you know, I was 5-6 years just grinding, bro, just saving my money.
And what helped you? Like, control, I guess. Be disciplined.
Yeah, what made you stay focused? It's hard to stay focused, bro.
Man, maybe my family, man. Like, I always say, my daughter Jamie, my firstborn, she changed me. That's when I was like really wanted to change. It was tough. I mean, I still kept drinking. I still kept making mistakes through these past few years. But I knew that I wanted to be a better father. I knew I wanted to be a better husband. And I pushed through. And right now I feel like I'm in a good mind. And but definitely, like, when I started having, like, when I hit my first 10,000 in my bank account, I felt some type of peace. I was like, ooh, man, if something happens, I got it. Mm-hmm. And then if I have more, how would I feel? So it's like 15 grand, 20 grand. And I'm like, ooh, man, this feels good. Like, I ain't got nothing to worry about. I could miss a week from work. And then 30 grand and 35 grand. And you're like, ooh. But now I bought a house. You know, and then you hit 60 grand, 70 grand, and now you hit 90 grand and you buy a shop and you're like, ooh, just my expenses alone are like 8-9 grand a month. You know, so you gotta have, you know, Ramsey says you gotta have like 8 to 10 months like of to cover if something happens. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day. If the AC breaks here at the shop, I gotta pay for it. That's 5-10 grand in my pocket. If the AC breaks out of my house, that's 5-10 grand in my pocket. Like, more money, more problems, more responsibilities. But having your savings really pushed me. Like having money in my bank account just gives me some type of peace. Of course, my peace comes from the Lord, and I also know that He provides. But definitely understand, like having that, like if something happens to me,
because unfortunately that's just the life we live now. Like you need bread, you know, everything for everything.
Yeah, but I think the peace is what really helped me in wanting to, I guess, have my family safe. I wanted my family to be safe. If something happened, I knew I had it. You know, I didn't want to be scrambling. I didn't want to be asking people for favors. It's not wrong to ask people for favors, but you can't continue doing that month after month. Hey, let me hold some.
Just because you're not cleaning up your own act.
Just because you're not being responsible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you need money, like, oh, let me hold $100, $200, but you going out to eat this weekend, man, you know, and I'll tell you guys straight up, like, me and my wife have gone out to nice dinners, and there's times where she's like, hey, you know, we're gonna eat maruchan today. Hey, I'm gonna cook some eggs and some tortillas.
And they taste
Hey,
good too.
Still hits.
Huevo con frijoles y aguacate. Ooh, man.
It's
You know,
the
and
best.
I think you can't allow money to let you forget where you come from. You know what I mean? Because last night we went to eat some tacos. We were on the sidewalk on the concrete eating tacos.
Yeah, street tacos.
Yeah, you know, I can eat huevo. I can eat maruchan. You know, so instead of going out to eat these barbers over here like flexing, you know, going to what are these cool bars? Capitol Bar, Lincoln Bar here in Houston. You know what I'm saying? Popping bottles, making it look cool with the little glitter. I see y'all on Instagram. I see y'all broke. Y'all don't tip me, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, man, like you gotta learn how to stay home. You gotta learn to be disciplined if you really want something good in life.
'Cause I think that's real discipline right there, bro.
Yeah.
Because you could say you're disciplined Monday through Thursday, but when Friday comes
That
and everybody's
show,
going
yes.
out, or like your client brings you a 6-pack or something, shit. To some people, that's all it takes, you know.
Yeah. And Manny knows, like, I don't go out to eat with them. Like they go to, Manny goes to Chipotle. Everybody goes grab some food. I bring food from home. I'm heating up my tuppers all the time because I understand that most of the money that barbers or anybody spends is out eating. We cook for at least the whole week, you know, unless sometimes we're real tired. Like, man, babe, don't cook. We gonna buy food.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I guess now you guys kind of sparked me up again, like on the finance, on the real estate. Like, there's so much potential in this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much potential. There's free money. These hedge funds, the way they work is, you know, let's say the bank, you know, especially if you're a business, they'll loan you out $250,000, $1 million at 2% interest. 2% interest. You do the math. You get $1 million loan from the bank at 2%, and you can go invest it and make 10%, 20% on it, and you pay the bank chump change 2%, and you just kept money. You made money on free money.
On a loan, yeah.
Yeah.
Free money.
But see, the thing is, people take out loan, credit card to go buy some sneakers, and you paying 20% back. You know what I'm saying?
On some shoes.
Yeah, on some shoes.
Because you couldn't afford it.
Now you going and buy a Range Rover or Mercedes flexing, paying 12% on it. Man, nah. See, I gotta make my money work for me. You know what I mean? My money pays for my luxuries.
Yeah. Before you buy anything, it's like, is this gonna work? Is my money gonna work for me before I spend this bread on this? Okay.
Yeah.
What has helped you, like, as far as, because you know, and you hear this a lot, like you can lose yourself in money. Like, what has helped you, like, not lose yourself, like,
or
keep
be
yourself
or
the way
be
you are?
too frugal, right?
Yeah.
And say, no, we can't do that, or we can't buy this. Like, 'cause I feel like there's a fine line when you're doing too much and you're being smart about expenses.
I could definitely vouch for being too cheap. They don't look. I could definitely. She could vouch. Like, you know, I could definitely be really cheap about things. Do we? And this is what I asked my wife. Do you need it or do you want it?
Are you gonna die? You don't have it.
Well, every time that's gonna be like that.
You said, "Are you gonna die?" All right, you don't need it.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
Oh, we need it. We need a new mat for the front door. Do you need it or do you want it? You gonna die? So
take shoes off. No, I'm joking.
Definitely, I've been too cheap so many times, a lot. But there's times where, like, you know, my daughters are like, "Hey, I want this," and not all the time, but there's times where I'm like, "Man, you know, I got it. Let me spend some." I have lost myself. I definitely many times I have lost myself being too cheap, and I also lost myself being too giving. and it's definitely hard to keep a balance. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like it's so hard, you know. And I think prayer for me has been like big, you know. Sometimes when I'm like being too given, I catch myself. My bank accounts ain't looking right. My credit cards are like, ooh. I'm like, ooh, wait, hold up, pray. And it's like, okay, look, you gotta calm down. You got money, but you can't be out here doing these stupid things. And you got responsibilities. Okay, don't lose yourself. You know, remember where you come from. And then when I'm being too cheap or something, I pray about it, and you know, God's like, dude, look at your friend, man. He's struggling. Help him. And there's been times where I'm like, man, let me bless my homie. You know, instead of going out to a nice dinner, instead of buying my shoes, let me bless my homie. Prayer, meditation. If you know, a lot of people talk about meditation. For me, it's prayer. It's like analyzing how I'm living, analyzing where my heart is, where my soul is, and you can have all the money in the world. I've been like, there was a moment in my life where I had everything, my business, the money, the family, but I was not happy, bro. I was not happy, you know, and I know I have my wife, I have my kids, and it's hard to say that, but you have to be okay with yourself. And I think being okay with yourself is, you got to be okay with God. He's my creator. He knows my purpose. And when I'm okay with him, he shows me how I got to walk. Sometimes you get off the path, and he brings you back. You know what I mean? And he's always there. He's the voice, like that little voice inside your head that maybe I shouldn't do that. Man, that was not right. That's always God telling you, like, hey, that's not okay. You know, and then you sit there and pray, and God is going to show you and guide you. You know, and it's definitely like, money is always a very touchy subject in the Hispanic community, in the Christian community, in every community, because nobody wants to talk about money. But it's like, are you using your money in a positive way? Or are you just flexing and, you know, doing the Mercedes and popping these bottles? What are you doing with your money? Ask yourself that. What are you doing with how you impact the community? And it's here. It's in your heart and your mind and your soul, being okay with God. But definitely it's been tough keeping up balance.
Yeah. It's good you touched that, because I think people will see it more as losing yourself in money, but they don't see it as far as like losing yourself being too cheap. You know what I mean? I don't think people really think about that, because I never really did until right now. You point that out. I'm like, oh, okay, so you can lose yourself being too cheap.
Because a lot of people, like you said, the bottom line is, do you need it? And 100% of the time, we don't need it. You know what I mean? It's more or less just to have that instant gratification of having this something new. You know, you feel good when you get something new. Like when I get a new clipper, I feel like I could cut 20 more heads, even if it's at the end of the day and I get the new clipper. I'm like, come on with it. I want to use this, you know.
That instant gratification, definitely. Like, you know, sometimes for me, my issue is Fridays. I had a long day, and I'm like, babe, let's go out to dinner. That's my gratification to myself. I deserve it. And to them, you know. But I definitely, babe, don't look at me on this. I know somebody who's worth like $2 million. Net worth like $2-3 million. Cheap, bro. And I'm like, what are you doing with your money, bro? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't, $20 shoes maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't travel, you don't do nothing. Like, you can definitely get lost in being too cheap sometimes. Yeah. And it's like, what are you doing with your money? How are you impacting the community? How are you impacting your family? Definitely I encourage everyone, like, not to take my words as arrogant. I'm definitely not trying to be arrogant. Like, I am blessed to be where I am, to be financially stable. And I want to teach everyone around me to be that, because I know that finances and mental health go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And in life, like, you can do it. Having faith in God, having faith in yourself, being disciplined, and you know, the Bible says you reap what you sow. What are you sowing? What are you planting? You know? And
yeah, it's important, because I feel like the majority of stress comes from finances in America. You know, not being scared you ain't got enough for the rent, or being scared you did this or you did that.
And then I know one person that, you know, oh man, you know, I'm gonna take out a loan to go to a concert in Vegas, spending $2,000 on a rave concert. It's like, bro, you ain't got money for your rent. You're struggling for rent. You got your credit cards maxed out. And you're
thinking about a rave, bro. You know what I mean?
And I think the society has definitely messed us up.
Yeah, because I feel like at one point, especially, well, I can't say for myself because I feel like I don't really have friends, but I feel like a lot of my clients
I'm your friend.
you're my friend. You're right. My bad. But I feel like a lot of my clients have like groups, right? Like group of friends, or if they go to a concert, they're going with the group. So I feel like they have to hold a certain image to be relevant, right? To be relevant, because otherwise they won't fuck with them, and then who will, you know? And a lot of people aren't okay being by themselves, you know?
Yeah, I think, and that's where it goes. Like, I'm okay with being with myself. Like, I don't have a lot of friends. I mean, I know you're my friend, but literally, my wife is my friend. I go home, have dinner with her. Like, I'll call you to hang out. I would love to have a best friend. To be honest, I've never had one. Maybe back in the day when I used to go drinking, it was like my buddy. Like, we go out drinking all the time. But now, who I am, it's hard because you got to have somebody that has the same mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I remember reading a text message when you told me I was your best friend.
What was that about?
I told Manny he was my best friend too. I told Byron he was my best friend. It's because I just want a best friend, bro. I really, honestly, that's one thing that I miss. I don't have a dude that I could be like, yo, bro, I need to talk to you. Let's hang out. Let's have some coffee. Hey, man, let me talk to you about my problems. You know what I mean? Back then, I had a lot of friends I could call. Let's go drink. Yeah, but no, like nowadays, I don't have a friend that I can be like, yo, let's go to dinner. Hey, let's do this. You know, I'm trying to be friends with Byron. He's always busy. I am trying to be friends with you. And I know we have a different culture. And I think that's why, Julio, you got a whole different lifestyle. But definitely surrounding yourself with people, you know. Maybe,
yeah, with like-minded people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like you said, like, I feel you, especially when you have a family and you're married. It's like it's hard to find that best friend, because like you said, like usually the wife is like your best friend. Like you look for it, but then you come back to your wife, like, yeah, and then you realize, like, damn, that is my best friend.
Yeah,
she knows all the gossip.
Position.
She knows all the tea. I let her have it, babe. All the time. She knows everything. But I have one friend that right now, he has a family. His kids are the same age as my kids, and I'm able to call him like, yo, what's up? Let's go grab some tacos. He's Christian. He's into investing, and definitely I think but it's hard, man. It's hard because I don't want to say it like this. I'm trying to find the correct words. Once your mind is here, it's hard to find friends.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk about investing like this. Like, you know, you got to find a group of friends. Like, I know some of my friends who are like millionaires. They have a group of friends who they can be like, yo, let me borrow 10 racks, bro. Yo, let me borrow 20 racks, bro. Like, yeah, bro. What's up? Hey, let's do this together. Let's invest in this company.
That's why they be going golfing and shit together.
Yeah.
Real.
So you need friends like that around you, and not to be scared about finances, you know, and not to be arrogant, but always to bring people up.
That's why they say you are like what you surround yourself with, you know. Like if you surround yourself around negativity, then that's what you're gonna be. But if you're around positivity and people with like that kind of mindset, I believe even though you're not there, you can get there. It's just all on you, you know. So yeah, that's definitely
with Manny, you know, he brings this positive attitude, and that's why like I kind of connect with him here at the shop. Like, he has this vision, like, you don't have a lid, bro. And that's good. Like, he's like, dude, I could do this. Or we could buy products. Like, you have this great, like, you have no lid. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I like that. A lot of people have like, I don't know if I can do that. Man, you just gotta.
Yeah, you need people like that around you, bro. Because if not, then I think it gets to a point to where if you're the only one, eventually you'll just like maybe kind of get discouraged, and you know, all the weight really falls on you.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times, like, we're human, right? Sometimes we have our off days where we just don't even want to deal with it, you know. And that's why you need to have those people surrounded by you to look out for you that day, you know what I mean, to pick you up that day.
Pick you up.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for Manny, man, real talk, because you have that, you know. Even though sometimes you feel like, you know, you said, man, 2 or 3 days out the week I don't feel like it, you know what I mean. And I used to work with D. D definitely had like this dragon when we first started working, you know, like I used to be like, bro, like I need to motivate myself. Like, I'm struggling today. I need to and then I gotta motivate you, bro. Bro. But definitely like surrounding yourself with the right people. Well, you guys have any more questions before I, you know? Julio got a lot of questions.
No, man. I mean, yeah, pretty much asked everything we can ask. Well,
Yeah.
I can ask that I can think
I think
of.
I covered it all too, bro.
Something that, or is there something you might want to say, something like to someone that may be listening, and something you feel like you missed out, or any encouragement you can give someone that's maybe like wants to take that step, but he's still locked in that box of fear, like I don't want to do it, like I'm scared to open up my shop. But a barber that's been doing it for years, that has maybe wants to take that step, like is there anything you would like to say to anybody that's probably listening to, like,
I would say, first, believe in yourself. Stop thinking I can't do it. I only got $2,000 in my bank account. I only make this much money. I can't achieve that. And I think a lot of people always think that. Start believing in yourself, because a lot of people have dreams. A lot of people, I have a dream of owning a house. I have a dream of owning a business. What are you doing towards it? Set goals. How can I get there? I need a shop. I need 20 racks, or I need 30 racks. How can I get there? I need to save it. How can I save it? Save $250 every week. Put it aside. Even if you save $50 a week, save it. $100 a week, save it, and be disciplined. Open a whole different bank account and put it over there. So believe in yourself. Set goals, and definitely find you a mentor. Get out of the circle that you're in. Like, if you need to quit your job, quit your job. If you need to quit the barbershop you're working at, quit the barbershop you're working at. And even if the barbershop that you're going to go work at charges more booth rent, or you're like, no, but if that barbershop is going to help you grow, or that other job is like, maybe you might take a pay cut, but that job is going to push you for more. Take the leap and find you a mentor. Find somebody that's going to hold you accountable. Don't find somebody that's like, yeah, bro, man, let's go. Man, it's all right. You spent $200 on Mises, bro. Yeah, man, they fly. Nah, bro. Find somebody gonna tell you, hey, bro, you stupid, bro. Why you buy those Yeezys, bro? Save your money. You need to find somebody who's gonna tell you the truth up front.
Every time I show Jimmy a shoe, he's like, they ugly, bro. Like, automatically, no matter the price, like, you thinking about buying some shoes, they ugly, bro.
Nah. You do got some ugly shoes. There's one that, like, the laces are all the way to the front, bro. You know what I mean? Those, and they're purple, and they got this, like, foamy. There's some basketball shoes.
Foam posits.
Oh, okay.
The penny foam.
Yeah, those are a little ugly. Nah, but I think that's something I need to work on, or maybe not. What do you guys think? Like, sometimes I tell the barbers, like, man, you stupid, bro.
I don't think so. Because like we said, like, I feel like everybody needs that, somebody to be blunt with them, or somebody to put them in check, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if it was up to us, shit. Like you said, you're trying to guide people, you want them to have, at least you're being a positive surrounding for somebody. You know what I mean? Even if it's not what they want to hear, it's what they need to hear,
Yeah. And like, even with Manny, I tell him, there's times where at first I didn't think what I could bring to the table to Manny, and there's times where I tell Manny, hey, man, like, you got to focus in this area. All right, well, just say bye. All right, let's close it out.
Yeah. All right, so y'all follow me on Instagram at FreshCut Manny.
What you got, Julito Bless?
Sorry about that.
We'll follow you on Instagram. What is it?
You can follow me on Instagram, Julio Luna 92, Jimmy's mentor. So you need a mentor, I'm here.
JCuts_elite. And follow the shop, Elite Barber Parlor TX. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a like. Come visit us. And if you want to join the podcast, shoot us a message. We'll interview you first.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll definitely throw y'all on. So, y'all.
All right.
Later.